to come.
But first, let's talk about how they're reworking the game and some of the things that we're excited about, starting with the RNG system. So the quote from Game Informer is, Bungie has fine-tuned the algorithms under the game's hood, which govern random equipment drops. Now you'll be more likely to receive armor and weapons that you actually care to collect. The journey from the weakest gear to the best has been smoothed over, so you shouldn't have to wait nearly as long between finding something you actually care to equip. Do you think they've solved the problem?
Well, what needs to be solved?
Well, right now you collect marks and you go into the tower and you buy all your gear and you're good.
But meaning, here's what's some of the pain points currently. You get a billion dragon's breaths for starters.
Yeah, if you're talking weapons. Yeah.
You get stuff you already have. You run into these situations where it's like, wait, like, why did I get, you might even get, like, say, whatever, Necrochasm. Well, you're only going to get that once. But you might get something like Gallahorn twice even. And you're like, but, I need Fourth Horseman. So the point is, it's not looking at your inventory. I'm wondering if it might now, right? Like, is it duplication still going to happen? Probably, though, because, like, you need to still get drops and shard them. But I'm guessing the point is, right, they've refined it, understanding a little more, hopefully. I mean, that's the big question. Is it going to understand what you need, even if there's duplication? Or is it really just going to drop stuff at a better rate? In which case, you'll get more stuff.
More drops.
But that's all that would mean.
So they said that they were fixing this with the Dark Below raid system where, like, you get stuff that you need, but I didn't really see that much of a change. I mean,
I just saw more stuff.
I got the weapons faster. Like, I got the whole set faster, but it still wasn't, like, ideal. It took me a long time to get the armor set. But now, like, your light level isn't tied to your armor set, so...
Well, yeah, I mean, trip down memory lane, though, right? Like, remember how much of a pain it was just to get a legendary in the original, and let alone an exotic. Level it. Yeah. And then all the above, and then, like, you just were grinding so hard. So they did tune that up in Dark Below.
Definitely.
You got a lot more drops.
I think there still has to be some sort of randomization element, because otherwise they don't feel as valuable.
So like, if you are in RNG.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
there will be,
it feels awesome when you've spent a lot of time and you get the thing you finally need. Like, it's awesome.
It's frustrating until then, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's welcome to loot collection games. Like, Diablo's like that, WoW is like that, Borderlands is like that. I mean, there needs to be some value in chasing the item, and I think you create that by not always getting what you want immediately. That said, definitely. It's super frustrating when you spend a ton of time investing into getting an item and then you can't even use that item. Like, you get a hunter helmet when you're a Titan and you're like, why? Well, now this has to be sharded. I can't even use it for whatever, right? That's... If they can improve on...
That is an interesting one. If they might have... I'd love them to drop that. Like, maybe there are some benefits that other people see, but, like, I think, like, why drop... Like, why assume that I'm going to transfer to my other character? Like, just give it to me on those characters.
Well, they're already working on that, like, Ascendant materials, or not Ascendant materials, but armor materials instead of plat steel and helium filaments. Now they're all just,
like, one thing. Yeah.
So that's good.
But sorry, I kind of cut you off there. But that'd be
that's fine. I mean, like, I think that's probably where I see Bungie doing the most of that addressing, is making sure that the items that drop aren't necessarily more or less random, but that they're a little bit more focused to the character itself. Because I still think the randomization element has to exist in order to create value for chasing it.
Yeah, but I think it just needs to look... Because the thing that's missing in the current RNG system that they have is it doesn't look at what's happening. It rolls the dice. That's just how it works, basically. I mean, I'm sure there's a few other fine...
I mean, that's literally what...
But that's it. It's literally rolling dice, and it's like how many ever numbers roll to get your Gallahorn. Like, you could potentially, even though the odds aren't there, never get Gallahorn, right? Like, you could never get it. But my point is, it'd be nice if it understood a little more, like, don't drop 2 Fatebringers at once.
Oh, yeah.
Like, stuff
or
like
two
that.
of the same helmet with the same stats.
Exactly.
That's happened to me before.
And that's
it's very strange.
Where I think they could look at the obvious things to be like, if this happens, no.
Yeah.
Re-roll.
It's just an if-then. There you go, Bungie. Problem solved. Fran solved it for you.
What it was
there all the time.
No, but what Fran's right. Like, it's most likely just a set of sub-algorithms that are, say, like, if this, then that type thing that modify the current RNG system.
Exactly. But the point is, if RNG...
Do this while not equal to...
Let's write it down now and just send it to them.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll email you guys. It's solved.
If greater than 9 Dragon Breaths, then 1 Gallahorn.
No, but literally stuff like that, right? Like, if you've gotten this too much, and if you can do that, obviously that wasn't the original intention. But the way I would put it, right, is RNG today lives outside of the plane of your existence.
Yeah.
It just happens. And what it needs to do is somehow live inside, whatever veil is there and say, oh, you exist. Oh, you've gotten 4 dragon breaths. I'm just going to re-roll. And if you have everything, then that brings up a new thing too. Like if it is looking at stuff, well, that is where obviously you're going to have to get duplicates of stuff. And but the point is, with some thought, I think they can really improve the system.
Some of the other systems that they're introducing are like Zer's 3 of coins, which is going to increase drop rates of gear. So that's going to be really good. And they're also going to have
be like a new consumable.
Yeah, so it's going to be probably a new consumable. You pop that before you go in the raid, go through the raid, get all the goodies.
So I was wondering that though, if it's like I'm wondering if here's what I think. You're going to buy it for I don't know if it's going to be a week or it's got to be a long period of time, but you can, it just sort of works.
You think they're only going to let you have
the
one?
The way I see it working is a lot like the Iron Banner buff. Like you go to the NPC, you buy it for not
That's
free.
time based.
2 months.
No, yeah, but that's
but
what
it's
I think
long. It's like
it's 16 hours
16
or something
hours,
like that.
Yeah.
But that's how I see it working is because like it can't be
too short.
Yeah, because it's going to be you have to assume that the raid is going to take some time.
See, I would I was thinking it might actually work all the way through. Like they said boss. So whatever that means, I was thinking once you hit a boss.
Oh, you think it's progression based?
Here's how I would do it. Like it's based on when you have the chance to get that roll.
Yeah.
So if it's Atheon or it's Crota or it's Oryx or if they have the other boss in there or something, like those are your chances. Within the week, it's consumable at that point when you've beat him. But until then, it's not gone. Because why should I have to rush once I buy this thing from Zer? And Zer leaves. So
because then there's no downside to buying. That's the thing. Is like I feel like
you have to spend. You have
already
to spend
now.
money
There's
on
no
it.
downside.
Well, we don't know what it's going to cost yet, but the downside would be, I don't know. I feel like.
But it could. Here's the difference, right? I was wondering if, like, why even speculate? We'll know soon. But we've got nothing else to talk about. You either buy it once and you have one chance at it, which is what makes it so special. Because maybe it really is like a great roll, or you just keep buying it and going back in and buying it and going back in. I'm wondering.
Why can't you just buy like 20 and then use them as needed?
Well, because it's probably a buff. You probably can't.
It's a pretty big buff.
Over
yeah,
over
pretty
again.
sure it's consumable.
No, see, I feel like it's what. Yeah, you
well,
can't.
The thing is, like, so if they're going to introduce something that is obviously a benefit to the player, then there needs to be a downside to it too.
Yeah,
right?
that's
like
what I'm
it can't
saying.
just be a overall buff, because then why would you never go? Why would you?
Yeah,
why
you
would you
just
ever
spend a
do
bunch of
anything
coins.
without it?
It wouldn't be that special. That's what I'm getting
Yeah, like
at.
why would you ever do anything without it? It was just a blatant beneficial buff to you all the time.
Like, let's
right?
put it this way. Imagine.
So a timer to me makes sense, right?
Look at it this
because
way.
you have to do it in that time, right? Or else it runs out, and if you can't accomplish all the stuff you need to in the time allotted, you have to spend more money.
Yeah.
Which is how that
a
seems like how it
consumable.
should work.
I was thinking of it almost like a Nightfall, right? Like
It's
imagine that
it's
it
a
sort of
one-time
gives
consumable that will increase the chance of getting an exotic drop from your next boss kill.
Right, but it's
But it
probably
doesn't
still
explain how it
time.
works.
Even the
Yeah.
consumables. So that's the thing is like the consumable versus a buff doesn't really matter because when I reference the Iron Banner buff, that's a timed thing, right?
Yeah.
Same like your
it says
telemetries
you activate
or
it.
your...
You activate it, and it works until you kill the next boss that you kill. That's where your increased chance happens.
Right, but the point is we don't know if you can buy another one. That's all I was saying.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you can buy another one, you
so
keep
that's
doing
kind
it.
of weird.
But yeah.
Yeah, because then, like, let's say there's 3 bosses. We don't know that there's that many or that there's more than that. But let's say you buy 5, 10, 15 or whatever, and then you just activate it before each boss.
See, that's what I'm saying.
It's a
Yeah.
consumable, so I'm pretty sure you're going to be able to get a
See,
bunch.
I don't know if I like
but
that.
it's not guaranteed. It's
that
still
is-
not guaranteed. It just increases your chances. It doesn't guarantee.
That wasn't
anything.
an interview quote, right? That was what they printed. Game Informer, is that right?
I mean, I could bring it back up.
So the point, look, we're just speculating for fun here, but it doesn't mean like you could call the buff for Iron Banner a consumable almost. Like it's not really.
We don't
but
pay
meaning
anything
maybe
for it.
they just are calling it like that. So we don't really know how it works yet.
Well, we'll find out very soon. The other item I wanted to talk about before we moved on was the ghost shells. They're going to do some cool stuff. Like they're going to give you a light boost. We still don't know how the light and leveling the leveling system.
Light is now separate.
Yeah, it's totally separate. So the leveling system is going to be like more like an MMO or RPG where you just kind of level up as you play. Level 34s, you're not going to get kicked down, so don't worry about that. We know that from the live stream that we did. But these new ghost shells, they're going to give you a light boost, and they're also going to like tell you when you're nearby spin metal or helium filaments or anything. I think that's kind of a cool thing. Though you can just use marks to get that stuff now, so it's a little less valuable.
Right.
Like remember when we used to have to run in circles and collect helium filaments and spin metal? That would have been a great time to have these shells.
Yeah.
Now it's just kind of like I have 400
Well, I mean,
spin medals.
but
So,
You have to assume that there's going to be a bunch of different shells that do a bunch of different things, and those are just 2 of the ones that they specified.
No, this is one that
work.
has 2 buffs on it. So it does the light thing, and it gives you like notifications when you're near
What
stuff.
I'm
But that's
saying
the point, it
though,
could
is
do
that
anything.
there's probably a
Yeah.
lot more things similar like that aren't resource oriented.
Yeah, like increased glimmer drop chances they mentioned, and then I mean it could do any number of things.
Yeah, it's
right?
really exciting
Like-
though to hear that they're gonna have different looking shells, like they talk about an orange one and different colors like that. And it's exciting to see that it's actually going to have an impact on the game. It's not just cosmetic like your ships.
Well, yeah, so that was one
Yeah.
of the great things that again, I hate to bring it up all the time, but World of Warcraft and your gear bonuses, like every single one, you had a lot more gear, right? Like there's 10 pieces total of gear, like including, you had a neck piece, like rings, shoulder pieces that are separate from gloves, pants, and all that stuff. And all of those contributed to your character in different ways with stats and item bonuses and stuff. This is a good way for Destiny to kind of get towards that, like a little bit more customization, a little bit more itemization that you have to think about when you talk about your character. That's awesome to me. Use the ghost. Maybe start giving me bonuses on my, speeder bike,
Yeah,
on my other
XP
stuff. Yeah.
XP boost is definitely going to be
They
large.
already
chance at
mentioned-
headshots.
Yeah, they already mentioned that class items are going to have
Yeah.
some sorts of bonuses on them as well. That's another opportunity for them to integrate
That's
more
so cool.
customization and stuff. This is cool. I'm like it. Also, like, I'm one of those guys who has the Frontier shell for the Ghost,
Yeah,
and
me
I
too.
think I'm cool for having it because everyone else's Ghost is just white.
I have
Mine's,
like 3. Like there's 3 in my inventory for some reason. Maybe early on I didn't understand what I was
just
buying,
kept buying it
so I
over and over
bought a
again.
few, and I'm like, nothing's
Well,
happening.
you can keep picking them up with each character at
That's probably what it is.
It's still at the special orders
special orders.
yeah.
NPC. But yeah, I mean, if there's more of them to collect, and if they do very different things, or if like there's one really rare one out there that
Yeah.
does something really cool, like,
There's 9 slots for them, so I
Yeah.
mean there has to be something going on.
Yeah, so that's actually they didn't say where you would get them though, did they?
No, not really.
So will they be drops? Like
maybe you have to revive dead ghosts.
yeah.
to
Do you
find
have
It
to
would
get
be so cool
blueprints
if,
and you
like,
gotta like
Your class
revive dead
items always
ghosts?
just cosmetic. It'll be really nice when it actually has an effect, like when the future war
Well,
cult and stuff like that.
That's been
actually,
my biggest criticism of Destiny ever since the beginning. Is too much of the game is cosmetic, right? Like your ship is cosmetic. Like so much of the game is just cosmetic.
And they're
it-
changing that, thankfully.
and it looks pretty. That's great. The cosmetic element of it is done really well, but it'd be really cool if some of that stuff that we've invested so much time into actually gave us some sort of measurable qualitative bonus, which it seems like they're going to do with a lot of this stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Count me in.
The last note I had was don't dismantle anything. On the Bungie Weekly Update, they did mention that they're going to be doing some live streams and explain why not to do that. So don't do that. But with that said, we are going to move on to a new topic.
Gee, I wonder if it's because they have a lot more vault space for you.
It's either going to be vault space
It's
or
number
like
one,
a new
it
system.
Will be vault space, but then I'm sure there will be maybe some.
Yeah, we
like-
talked about this on the last episode in Germany. If you didn't watch it, it's an hour long. Half front is us with Bungie, and the back half is us guessing about what could happen. And
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Moving on.